and it's episode 65 of the Red Leaf Retrocast. I am your host, JD. We got a good episode for you today during the quarantine. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Bored.
Yeah.
Bored?
There's too many games.
But you have so many of the games to play.
Do we, though?
Being stuck inside? I mean, come on.
Can't wait till...
What, that's just not normal for you?
I can't wait till after quarantine to want to not go outside again. It's going to be great.
So everyone's doing well. Colin, it is your theme pick today. What is it?
Black sheep of franchises.
Boy, howdy they were.
Basically, games that don't really fit very well into their respective franchises. Or so the public says.
Or so the public says, yes.
You're a public.
But we're about to see just how true that is.
Yes, later in the cast.
Absolutely.
It's been great. I finally found, guys, a liquor store that sells my favorite Vermont beer.
Which
Do
is...
tell.
Well, it's called Zero Gravity. I've only been able to find it at various bars and outlets that are of which closed right now for unforeseen circumstances. And so they usually go for like $7 a pint. But I found it at the liquor store where they're $6 a six-pack.
Wow.
Oh, man.
$6 a six-pack?
Yeah.
That's probably some shitty beer.
No, it's really good beer.
Is it?
But because Vermont's next door to Rhode Island, basically, it's... I mean, it was I think, $5 in Vermont.
You ever had Kirkland Light?
there?
Because it sounds like Kirkland Light.
No. This is microbrew stuff, and they're trying to compete with other many Vermont beers, and they just sell it cheaper.
That's weird, because that's cheaper than Lone Star, and Lone Star is a really cheap beer to be.
Yeah, well.
Great, so more people can go to the ER for alcohol poisoning than
Nice.
the Kung Flu.
Well, see, the thing is, if you drink beer, the alcohol kills it. So, it makes sense. That's how it works.
I'm pretty sure it's been proven that's boxed wine that will kill
Whatever.
it, as it kills all bacteria and viruses.
Yeah, my least favorite virus is like the cold and Karen. She loves box
Karen?
wine. Just Karens.
Karen from accounting?
Karen, just anyone named Karen.
Karen from Reddit.
Yeah.
Ah, Karen from Reddit. That's very 2020 of you, Colin. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a quip, or shall we get into the games we've been playing?
I farted.
Well, I'm glad I'm not in the room with you then.
Yeah, well, just
You
you
gotta
asked.
practice social distancing after all.
I'm doing it myself. Just farting. A lot.
Just you wait, sooner or later there'll be internet smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
Please, God, no.
Yeah. I can only imagine what Reddit's going to smell like.
I would never go to Reddit again.
It's going to be great. What are you talking about? I'm excited for it. But we got games. We speak of games.
Yeah,
Who's ready
I
for
think
that?
Joey should go first since he played so many.
Why?
Yes. Because I got an Xbox Pass for $1 for this month, so you know.
Whoa.
I know, I'm a big spender. So I decided to play Ori and the Blind Forest because my friend talked about it. I beat it. Although the version I had, you're supposed to be able to go back into the game, but every time I go back in the game, it's glitched, and Ori is swimming around, and the bird just constantly chases me, and if I change scenes, it just goes black, and all I hear is haunting sounds of the bird and nothingness.
That sounds like the best game
boy.
ever, personally. I think you
kind
did a
of
great
creepy.
job.
One might say it's an allegory for something.
What a great game.
So then I went to the second game, and I played it as much as I can, but my controller's broken, so I can't do one of the moves that's very important to the game, so I had to stop playing until I can get a new controller.
Oh, no.
This sounds like a great game. I'm really glad you
Which
brought
move
it
is
up.
that?
It's the one where you have to hit the lights, the burst move off of that.
Burst.
Oh, yes, that is very crucial to the game.
Yeah, my left button doesn't want to work all the time for some reason, so I die a lot because it just doesn't register. And then I played
boy.
Doom from 2016 because it was
Hell
on the
yeah.
pass. It was fun. It's just a little dark. Even when I put up the gamma, it's like I don't like the shadow enemies against black backgrounds, but I'll get used to it. And then I tried Surge 2 based on what you said, JD, but I didn't like it. Not at all.
Oof.
It's just not my style of game.
Isn't that just like
Not your style of
sci-fi
game, okay.
Souls?
Yeah,
Boring.
it was.
Well, the thing is, if you've never played a Souls game or you don't know what to expect, Surge 2 is a good entry title. So at the very least, you won't like get your ass handed to you, hand over fist. So, but if it's not your style, then that's fine.
Yeah, it's just I just don't really like that gameplay. And then of course
This is the internet. You're supposed to yell way more than that. You can't accept somebody else's opinion. You got to go harder, guys.
No, I can accept.
Well,
it.
we can't accept your opinion, Kevin.
Yeah,
Wow.
your opinion sucks. So how dare you?
I'll go fuck myself.
Then I play Satisfactory when I feel like sitting at my computer, but I really don't feel like sitting at my computer because I sit there all day for work. So that's why I started playing the Xbox, just to get away from my computer.
To another box-filled computer.
Hey,
thing.
it's a more comfy chair. It's a TV. It's not a monitor, and there's a controller, not a mouse and keyboard. It's different, okay? Jeez.
PC gaming is
No, I
uncomfortable.
believe you.
Confirmed. You've heard it. We've
It's
already said it for years.
I just don't want
No,
to
you said
sit
it.
8 hours a day working and then a couple more hours playing at the same place. I need
You
to
just have to
separate
do-
work from home.
You just got to do a spin, and then it's like a new spot. Like you get in your chair and you go whoosh. All right, game time.
If only.
It works that way.
So I got a question then. In terms of Ori Will of the Wisps, how would you compare it to the first one?
I like the first one better.
Yeah, I think I did too.
It seemed to be... the second one is less platformy with like all the attacks you can do in the boss fights. I preferred the first one.
Yeah. It was the second one here seems to me like it's an emphasis on battle as opposed to trying to make fantastical jumps. Even the like boss battle sequences in the first one, it was all about escape. You know?
Yeah, and I don't know. It felt more simple and right. This one just feels complicated just to be complicated.
How so?
Well, because you have to select what abilities you have. I don't like that the wall stick can go away if you need to switch it out for something. Like that, I think should just be an inherent thing that you kept from the first game. And then you can switch out your weapon
that
tags
ability for
and all
sure.
that. It just you have to sit there and think, what do I need for the next thing, instead of just going in with yourself.
Yeah, it makes you stop and hit the pause menu a lot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel you on that one. Well, the triple jump is the same way. Like, a lot of all these abilities that you just naturally gain in the first game, you have to now put them in slots.
Yeah, which I'd rather be able to keep those and build off of it. I mean, I get the weapons,
Yeah.
switching those out, I'm okay with that, but to take away an ability you already had with no real explanation for it,
Right. Yeah. Have you gotten to the part where your little bird friend, you meet back up with him?
now I haven't got that far yet.
So you're not at the halfway point.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll keep the lips sealed for that part.
I'll get to it when I
Alright.
get a new controller.
Colin, you're up next.
All right. As a lead into my first one, I want to point out, because I've been playing Half-Life 2, and on a related note, I found a very interesting video from IGN where they interviewed Gabe Newell and one of the veteran Valve devs from Half-Life about why we
Does he
haven't...
say it was an awful game? Because Joey definitely doesn't like Half-Life.
Don't you speak those evil words.
Actually, they speak about why we haven't seen Half-Life 2 Episode 3 after all this time, and we're finally getting some concrete answers.
Oh, is this all because Alex came out?
Pretty much.
Oh.
It mostly has to do with Valve creating the Source 2 engine, while also juggling their other projects like Steam, Dota 2, and CSGO. It initially wanted to develop Half-Life 3 simultaneously with the Source 2 engine, but they weren't satisfied with any of the results, so they just decided to specifically focus on Source 2.
Boy, yeah.
And-
Counter-Strike Go's not even on Source 2 yet.
And Gabe Newell actually said that the Half-Life games were each meant to be like the new introduction of new gaming technology, and they wanted Half-Life 3 to be the very best it could be. And in the meantime, Half-Life Alyx was created as a means to introduce new VR technology, while also throwing the PC gaming crowd a bone as far as the Half-Life series is concerned.
Well, it definitely succeeded in the VR territory.
Yeah,
One of the best VR games out there now.
They spent 4 years developing it. So, on a hopeful note, it seems like the Valve devs are quite excited to work on more Half-Life games, so who knows? We could be getting Half-Life 3 in the next decade. Or sometime this decade.
I've heard that one
Next
before.
10 years.
Yeah, but this time there's more transparency on Valve's part. But yeah, Half-Life 2 itself is still fun as hell. I beat it, and the last level is really fun when you get a huge upgrade to the gravity gun, where you can actually use enemy soldiers as the projectiles.
Sounds like a rip-off of other games. Half-Life 2 is awful.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Nobody will ever like that.
Nah.
I bet no one remembers it. Till you just said it, Colin. You just jogged everyone's memory of this terrible game.
I half remembered it.
You half remembered it?
Yep.
You might say you forget about half of it each lifetime?
Whoa.
Whoa,
Nailed it.
that's deep.
Nailed it. That goes better than my theory why there hasn't been a Half-Life 3. I thought it was all in the title. You have Half-Life, then Half-Life 2. That's a whole. Game's done. That's it. I thought it was simple.
Yes. As soon as I'm done with Doom Eternal, I'll move on to episode 1 and 2, which I have never played.
It's also a
Okay, I gotta ask.
bad name.
Colin.
Yes?
Doom Eternal. Is it kicking the living shit out of your anal hole?
Well, I'm kicking the shit out of the anal holes of the demons.
I need an adult.
So you're not having a hard time with the difficulty?
Not particularly. I'm playing on Hurt Me
okay.
Plenty. I mean, I started on Ultra Violence, but I kept getting my ass kicked there. So
Okay.
so I switched over to Hurt Me Plenty so I can get a little more used to how the game plays compared to 2016. And then
And your thoughts?
fucking awesome.
Okay.
Just as fun as Doom 2016. There's gameplay is as frantic and fun as ever. New enemies are really cool. The new settings are very detailed and fun to look at. I mean, there's like hell on earth. There's these big ancient temples. There's just, it kind of feels like Dead Space in some areas because of all like the big alien demonic tentacles over everything.
Yes. Who could forget?
And the levels are also a lot longer, so there's more emphasis on exploration and finding secrets.
Yeah, I didn't like that part about it.
I didn't at first, but then I realized playing through each level is like the perfect length for a play session. As soon as I'm done the level, I can just end it there and be satisfied for the day.
Fair enough. I thought the game was like twice as hard as Doom 2016,
Yeah,
personally.
there's bigger arena type fights for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to keep track of. I want to use the meat hook feature more than I do, but
What?
it's like the
Meat hook?
the grappling hook on the
Oh.
super shotgun. You can
See, Kevin, we all know the rule. If there's no grappling hook mechanic in a game, it can't be Game of the Year.
Oh, right. No, that makes sense. That's why Uncharted 4.
For those who don't know, it's a feature where you hook into a distant demon and it pulls you towards it, so you can do a point blank double barrel blast to the face.
Right. So contender for Game of the Year immediately based on that one mechanic. That's how it works. I don't make the rules.
I'm having way too much fun with the sticky grenade on the combat shotgun. Does that
Yeah.
just blow so
It's
many enemies
like-
up?
It's like the first weapon in the game, basically. You basically, I was sticking with it. the
Oh,
rest of the time I was playing it.
I heard that.
I'll have more of my thoughts on the Modern Gaming Cast, which, by the way, I recorded with Jay and then discovered that my entire audio and backup audio was corrupted, and
Oh no.
the backup audio was cracking. So I think my mic cord expired because I got a new one.
They do expire.
Oh, no.
You know, you got to cook them when
Yeah,
they're
it
fresh.
expired.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a use by date, so you gotta make sure you use it by that date.
can't go by the sell
Yeah,
by.
also affected by the weather outside, so
Yes, all these things that you're just making up. Bad.
So I got to
Yeah.
re-record the Modern Gamecast. So fun.
Yeah, one thing that kind of bothers me about Doom Eternal is that there are now cutscenes that play out in the third person where you see things from the outside. basically one of the things I really liked about Doom 2016 was the fact that everything was from the Slayer's POV, and to see that taken out kind of makes it lose its identity. It's now less Doom and more Halo in that regard. Although the game
Do you think Doom Guy did it?
I don't know.
What?
Do you think Doom Guy did it? Do you think the Slayer is the one that created Hell on Earth?
No, it was Isabel. Everyone knows that.
Oh, well, I mean... Rip and slay, man. Or no, rip and tear. Rip and tear.
Rip and tear until it is done.
Rip and slay's like the Beyonce line or whatever.
Yeah, I know that, so...
Yeah, it's like the big mystery of the game is in its lore. It's like, is it the same Doom Guy, or or did the first one create Hell on Earth or some shit? Jesus Christ! What the fuck was that?
Like I said,
idea.
I could explain it, but I won't. Go on.
No, I think simultaneously when your noise started happening, Kevin, my cat like knocked into something on my bar.
Nice.
Oh, jeez.
This is gonna be a wonderful episode.
I was like, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, he's going nuts right now, but he's staying away from my area, so we're all good.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing up there, but they have vacuumed like 3 times in the past 2 days, and I can't imagine what mess is going on up there. But I'm gonna apologize.
Butt stuff?
Maybe.
I mean, I think you can assume butt stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's always butt stuff. Joey, always butt stuff?
Wow.
Always butt stuff.
Nice.
Always butt stuff.
Weird.
Well, hey, I'm not one to judge the butt stuff.
I am.
I've never tried it personally,
It's weird.
but you know, Kevin, you can't knock something till you've tried it at least once. Am I right, guys?
I can. Can absolutely.
Like some of the games we'll be playing and talk about later.
Yup.
Yeah, one big annoyance I have with Doom Eternal that doesn't have to do with the game itself is the fact that Bethesda.net requires you to be signed in if you have an internet connection on your PS4. So it's super annoying to just have to disconnect my PS4 from the Wi-Fi just to bypass that and play the game directly.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's dumb.
It's super annoying.
I think Final Fantasy 15 had that. You had to log into Square Enix's thingamajig
That is fucking
before
ridiculous.
you were able to play. Yeah. I don't like it when games do that either.
DRM is cool, guys. What are you talking about? They just want to make sure nobody's stealing. It's innocent. It's going to hurt nobody.
Except, didn't Bethesda or the developers of id Software accidentally or purposely leave in some sort of old DRM that got hacked like within an hour?
Yeah, because nobody
of
likes
Doom
it.
Eternal coming out.
My favorite was EA with what was it, SimCity, where they're like, we can't just flip a switch and turn it off. Oh no, that was Microsoft actually. It was like, we can't just flip a switch and turn it off, and then they flipped the switch and turned it off. It's like, whoa, crazy. Wow, how'd you guys do that? I thought you couldn't be done.
Right, yeah.
Wizards.
Well, you can't possibly have an online service with games that have been in an online service previously.
Right. No, it doesn't make sense.
No, can't do that.
So, I understand where they're coming from.
So, yeah.
XCOM Enemy Within, Colin?
Yeah, I've been playing that on the side too. I've beaten the alien base invasion mission, so I'd say I'm about quarter of the way through the plot. So, not much more to say about that. And on the side, a little bit of Broforce here, a little bit of Fight and Rage there, and also podcast games.
Podcast games. It's been my life. Alright, so I finished Judgment since our last podcast, and I gotta say, that game is so cutscene heavy.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It puts past Yakuza games to shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that.
Yeah, well, like I said, Yakuza series and Judgment here, it's a fantastical beat 'em up with a fantastical story, so keep that in mind. But with Judgment's case, it's like, because it's a detective story, here I am thinking that, now, don't get me wrong, I love the story that I was watching, right? The gameplay of, tiger style, crane style that this dude, with no explanation, knows, by the way. it kind of grew on me when I got a bunch of upgrades, but it took a good chunk of the game. I would say half before I finally started to like the combat, because where the combat not flawed, but didn't grab me was the Chinese styles that this dude knows. He has to go through the full animations before and after attacking. So when he finishes a combo, he has to do the whole like Bruce Lee, hands in the air to the side, throws him out and waves him around kind of deal.
Well, it doesn't work unless you do that in real life either, so.
Yeah, well, it's got to make the attack stronger somehow, right?
Yes.
So there's eventually upgrades where you can, up your combo speed, do some dodges so you can cancel that motion and move on to other things faster. So that was a nice little additive to get me into the later stage of the game. But again, I thought the whole game was kind of building to this fantastical trial at the end, kind of Phoenix Wright style, where you'd be putting together all the evidence you've gathered, and it goes into all that. In a way, it sort of does, but it's really only like 5 minutes, and then as you're about to lay down the final hammer of the law, basically, then it goes into full Yakuza mode where you have to go fight the assassin type dude, and that was an epic final battle. I wish a lot more of the fighting was that, but you do fight like the same guy 3 times, kind of like in Yakuza 0 where you fight the first big patriarch like 4 times in the game. It kind of gets irritating. I just really wish, with the whole emphasis on detective, that there was more detectiving.
Detectiving, okay.
Yes, that's a word. In Judgment. So definitely not my favorite Yakuza game by any means.
Are you sure it's not called dicking around, since you're a private dick?
Nice.
Joe, I didn't think of it that way. You're right. Probably right.
Game's better already.
Yeah. So then and that was kind of my in-between game between playing through Yakuza 0, 1, and 2. Then I started Yakuza 3 and proceeded to beat the entire thing last weekend because it's really short. It focuses on our main character now on a beach in Okinawa at an orphanage. And the game is, I thought, okay, cool. I'm going to be in a new city. I'm going to learn a new city. Maybe some mafia, mob stuff, Yakuza stuff, one might say, could happen. Mm. And it doesn't really. The Yakuza there are an offshoot of your main Yakuza group, and they just want to evict you from the orphanage because they want your land for some political scheme. You very quickly make friends with this 3-person Yakuza group, so it's really dumb. And then a good chunk of the game, especially in non-Yakuza-like missions, you're just taking care of the orphans. And it's like, oh, this orphan's getting bullied at school because they're all orphan, and this one has bad clothes because orphan clothes, and this one stole money from the other orphan, but then you have to get them to convince, and they're all like 6 years old. 6 to 10. Mm-hmm. So it's really boring. It's just really dull. And I'm like, I hate these orphans. I want their house. I want their house now torn down.
Let's have a sound clip of that. JD hates orphans confirmed.
I suspected it all.
I knew it. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So if that wasn't enough, it's in this this is the remastered version, part of the remaster collection, and Yakuza 3 it doesn't feel remastered in any way. No, it feels very much like a PS2 game.
Well, that's the thing with all these like remasters. Like they literally are just uprising graphics, and they go remastered. Look at me, I've done it.
This one was exactly that because as soon as you get dropped into Kamurocho, the original city, before it goes back to goes to Okinawa, Kiryu, our main character, moves like he's on ice, and he's very stiff. And the combat is atrocious. it's the exact same from Kiwami 2, but now worse.
Cool.
Because it's a bad remaster. Well, not a bad remaster. It's a lazy remaster. They did very little. It's just the graphical upgrade. And even then, that's very little. So the story's not all that... I mean, it does get interesting with... It forces you to try and care about these orphans. And then you're just like... Someone messes with the orphans, you just go, I just fucking did all those side missions. I will swear to God, if you hurt any of these guys...
That's how you start to care about them. I don't understand what's the problem with the gameplay,
yeah,
bro.
Exactly.
You just do the same mission over and over. You're going to love them.
Yeah, so it just felt like a lot of side content. The whole game felt like a side game, just like Judgment. It does end well for the story. That wasn't enough to bring me in. So Yakuza 3 is easily the least good out of all of the games so far. Out of the five that I've played, easily the worst. And then I booted up and played the first part of Yakuza 4, and immediately immensely way better, like a huge remaster. It felt like Yakuza 0 and Kiwami, and how great it is. The combat felt great. The graphics were amazing. Like the whole city's raining as you start. The lighting effects. It's now a bunch of different characters, all with a tied together story. So it's something completely different and new. It's exactly what it was, more than I could ever imagine, especially after playing Yakuza 3, because I went into it going, I don't know if I want to play 4 now. I'll boot it up and see what it's about. And I was like, oh yes, it's so good. So I'm loving Yakuza 4. Each new character has a different, unique combat style to them for the beat 'em up. It's great. You're a loan shark in one, you're a prisoner in another, and I don't know any character after that. It's fucking awesome. And you can really see how all the elements tied to the past games. But it's like not... It's just kind of, if you've played the series, it rewards you for having played them before. But if you're totally new to the Yakuza series, then it's not like crucial information that won't be... like anything crucial will be explained to you as you play. So that's awesome. So this Yakuza 4 is a good starting point for those wanting to play, like, well, just starting there, basically. So I'm very, very happy. And then I played the entire first part of the very first Tomb Raider on the Sega Saturn last night, and that was a lot of fun. It was very challenging still.
Oh boy. I remember playing that on our Let's Play videos. What a time that was.
Yeah, it's Colin, if you remember, we were actually missing like 3 crucial game mechanics.
Oh yeah.
To make it way easier, like a drop-down mechanic. It does exist, but you have to hold B and do the roll button as you go over edges.
Oh boy!
I accidentally discovered that.
Oh man!
I was like, oh, this makes it so much easier. And then if you hold the L button, that walks and prevents Lara Croft from just walking off an edge, so you can really get to the edge of platforms to easily make other jumps. So again, oops, when we were playing. Yeah. All right, Kevin. What do you got?
We were busy focusing on talking to the audience and each other.
Nah, come on, that's crazy talk. Kevin, what do you got?
Okay, I'm gonna start off one thing since you brought up Yakuza. I tried 0. That ain't a Kevin game. That was a solid movie.
Well, we already established, as Joey agreed, your opinions don't matter.
All right, well, I don't care. It's my,
well,
it's my time.
Sometimes they matter. When he's talking about games that you like, when they
there
suck, I agree with him.
Here's the thing. I won't,
Joey, I thought you had my back.
I won't say Yakuza sucks, but like I played Persona 4. That game is like 2 hours of opening dialogue. Somehow that hooked me. Maybe like because I'm an ignorant American and it was in English and translated, but like. The start of Yakuza 0, like, there was dialogue, and dialogue, and dialogue. Then I got to beat somebody up, and that was cool. And then dialogue. And then dialogue. And I was like, when the fuck do I do anything?
Whole story.
Yeah, but it was like, I'm sorry, I can't play a game for 4 hours, and I've beaten up, like, 3 guys and a bunch of dudes
Okay,
in
I
one.
watched you play. That's not what happened.
Okay, I'm exaggerating. I was fucking bored is my point. So anyway, put it down. Not a Kevin game. Maybe I'll try a different Yakuza. Didn't work.
No, they're all like that.
Okay, they never...
Except Yakuza 3, it's worse.
Okay, great. So I'm not a Yakuza fan, and that's fine. Then I revisited Sonic Adventure. Bad. And then the games I'm actually playing, Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Good.
Fucking wow, that's a game I love. I already knew I was going to like Fire Emblem, and I was trying to go in blind, everyone telling me what house is best, like it was a Harry Potter school or something.
That was the objective when they made it, I'm sure.
The only answer is go with handsome boy Nick Carter's house, Dimitri, because yes, I don't know. It's something about all the units in the other houses. I was like, y'all look like a bunch of fucking nerds. And something about Dimitri's house, I was like, you know what? I like these guys. That game is fluent, smooth. I didn't think I was gonna like being a professor and doing all that extra stuff, but it actually plays into the game really nice, where you can make people how you want. So like in normal Fire Emblem, it's like, I am an archer and you can't stop me. And I go, but you're better at swords. Listen, motherfucker, I am an archer. And you can change at any time. So I like that part of it. I'm still playing through it. The other game, I dabbled in Animal Crossing. It's okay. What was the other game I was playing? I don't remember.
Last of Us.
Right. Revisiting Last of Us. It's my Game of the Month clubs. We did an extra quarantine game. And man, is that
very, very topical.
Yeah, look, it's a random wheel spin, I promise. Man, that game's good.
Kind of like Resident Evil 3 remake coming out. Very topical.
Man, I saw somebody play that, and they like someone who's a big RE3 fan, and they were not loving it. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's
because they don't
the same engine as RE2.
They don't have Jill
but
Skirt.
You're playing RE3.
Jill Skirt, that's what it is. Game's unplayable. Anyway,
is that really what people are upset about?
Some people are, but it's not the real issue. The last thing I'm playing is Mega Man Legends 2. I'm like right at the end. But man, the whole time I'm playing this game, I wish I never played it on Vita again. Because this back touchpad for L2 and R2 is the worst. I hate it. You have to touch...
Are you sure you can't remap the controls?
As far as I know, no. I'm sure you can in like the Vita engine settings, but I don't know what else I'd want for R2. Like, I just don't. You get used to it after a while. I hate playing PS1 games on Vita, but my randomizer said it must be done, so I did it. It's a pretty good Zelda game.
Do not disobey the randomizer.
Yeah, no, you don't. Whatever. That's how I played the first one, so I was like, I know what I'm getting into. Only real complaint is that, like, there's, like, essential stuff in this game that, like, it doesn't tell you you're gonna need. You kind of have to just, like, go in a dungeon and be like, oh, man, I wish you brought those asbestos shoes. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, you didn't collect these obscure parts I didn't tell you about? Go get them, you fucking idiot.
Well, yeah.
So
sounds about right.
Yeah. On that, I'm still working my way through Three Houses. I took a little break because like I don't want to burn out on it too much because we got all this free time, so I mean I'm gonna get to it. But it was nice to like mix up with Last of Us, and fuck, that game is so good. I still tear up at the beginning. Whew. The feel.
Well, I mean, you have free time.
Okay, sorry, Mister. I'm essential. So
I'm an essential worker.
Yeah, sure. Essential and expendable are very interchangeable. I've learned. So.
I'm technically essential, but I get to work from home.
Yeah, well. So that's kind of what I've been nailing. The only option is Blue Lions, and anyone that disagrees can fall to my sword.
Yeah, I played 30-something hours of Fire Emblem Three Houses when that came
Only
out.
30?
I do love it. I didn't finish it. Man, that's like... I guess the beginning, because it's like 100-hour game.
Yeah, everyone's like, do all Three Houses. I was like, no, that's okay. This is my choice.
Dude, that was my thought.
No.
I'm like, no. I know the story diverts, but I don't care.
Yeah, no, I got to that point where I was just like, does it change that much? And everyone was like, well, you see it through other teams' perspective. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about their perspective. This is my team. These are my homies. We die together. Like, so that's as far as I'm taking that.
It's like the same events play out.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, now I can hear, like, Claude or a token waifu, like, explain her point of view. I don't care. Dimitri is best. That's all I know. Who'd you pick?
I picked the Democracy dude.
Dimitri?
Yeah, the hodgepodge of different characters they all don't look and feel the same.
Yeah, well, you gotta you
Yeah.
gotta diversify.
The Golden Deer.
Oh, that's
who
who you picked. I didn't like Claude.
Yeah, Claude. Is his name actually Claude?
His name's Claude, which is why I got confused and they were like talking about Claude. I was like, oh, the girl, and then I saw like the meter go up for the Golden Deer. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Golden Deer.
Lame-o.
Well, he's an archer
Yeah, that.
and a thief type person, which I really liked.
I mean, I get it, but Thieves and Fire Emblem are used for like shooting over walls. Like, I when I'm streaming, I have one person in chat who's like, "What are you doing? You have to use Thieves to provide cover fire." And then everyone else, I'm like, everything you're saying makes sense if it wasn't Fire Emblem. Like, if this was Age of Empires, absolutely. But archers in this game go kill the guy over the wall for me, thanks. That is their job, and also use all women and children as meat shields.
Well, oh, you don't play with permadeath?
Oh, I play with permadeath, but they're meat shields
Okay.
still. I care about them, but just know that, like, hey, sorry, you're a child and you're not going to be useful in this war.
Yeah, I mean it's all about the story in Three Houses. I thought it's the easiest Fire Emblem to date that I've ever played.
Yes, yeah,
Well, they completely took out the rock paper scissors mechanic to it all.
yeah. They do that, but it comes in play with like gambits and skills and other stuff, and also, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
All right. We'll get to rock paper scissors later.
yeah,
As well. Okay. Drop time. How about that?
drop these notes. What's dropping?
Is it a super long drop?
It's super long, apparently.
It's 10 seconds of asphalt assault.
You know
from
what?
the
You know what
very
that
first
sounds like
Twisted
on our
Metal.
end? Like 10 seconds of like, so this is awkward.
So guys, it's kind of awkward,
So-
but Nintendo had a mini direct.
Sure, let's call it that.
Yeah, short little, probably 5-minute thing we'll
Yeah.
discuss. Lots of ports and remasters,
As the Switch
That's
does.
basically what this sucker was, as the Switch has become.
Port everything to
You know,
2020.
I'm all for the Switch. You know, putting as many games as they possibly can on their console, but there does come a time when I just want. It's like, okay, I get it, but you don't need to devote like 10 minutes to a game we played 10 years ago.
I think we do, because it wasn't on Switch before. I don't think you realize that, but now it is. Therefore, it's good now.
Like them devoting so much time to Borderlands 2, be like now the greatest 2K made Borderlands, right?
Yep. They did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the greatest 2K games are now coming to Switch.
Not 3, but 2. Borderlands 2.
Hey, Borderlands 2 is a
not
great
not
game.
the new one.
Yes, it is, but
Hey,
like,
well.
come on, guy.
I have it in VR, so
Oh.
that's as good as it's gonna get.
I have it on Vita, so you're right. It's not good on Vita.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Too bad. Well, now it's on Switch.
Whoa, now I can play
so-
it.
Yeah. Yeah, they went this big in DLC. You know, there's a big Pokemon DLC thing. You know,
Gross.
so we already discussed scum tactics with that. Xenoblade Chronicles, some DLC there. You know, the enhanced, complete, fantastic edition on Switch. So therefore, it's the most complete experience. You know, it was all the buzzwords that you see and hear. And then they finally went into Ninjala, which is like another Splatoon, but now you're ninjas doing parkour battle royale type shit.
Excuse me.
Just yeah, it looks pretty fun. It's absolutely going to be free to play. It comes out May 25th, and you don't need Switch Online.
Ooh.
Neat.
So very much gonna be playing that one. And then what caught my eye, because I watched this whole thing at work, you know, because as one does.
As one does.
Why would you work at work?
No.
Was the demo of Bravely Default 2
Yes.
that came out, and they confirmed a 2020 release, but they didn't confirm the date, so second half of the year.
It's out next week.
No. So those that aren't familiar with Bravely Default series, it's basically Final Fantasy, the old ones, the
Yeah.
top-down adventure games, Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, that style.
The good ones. I said it.
I like a lot of them, that's for sure.
I said it. I'm standing by it.
So yeah, Bravely Default 2, when they were going over the story, it's almost like, to a T, the old Final Fantasy stories of gather the crystals, here's your 4 heroes, you're going to be the Guardians of Light kind of situation. And then it has the Octopath Traveler system of battle. So so this might pique your interest, Kevin, since you were an Octopath Traveler fan.
Was until the end, yep.
Well, I mean,
because the story didn't mean anything, right? That's all. But yes, go on.
So the Octopath Traveler system was all based around breaking the dude's shield.
I froze.
And then, so you got to find their weakness to break the shield, and then you can attack them. In Bravely Default, it has the Brave and Default system, very much that same realm. So it took kind of the best element of Octopath Traveler, which was its unique gameplay in the turn-based RPG. Mm-hmm. And now it has a much more complete story and complete characters that actually know that they're together.
Good, finally.
So, yeah, Bravely Default 2 immediately became a must-buy for me. So, if you're into old-school RPGs, it would definitely tickle your fancy.
I like my fancy.
I tried playing Bravely Default 1. That's a game I want to like more than I do. Everything's there, but somehow it just wasn't grabbing me.
Well, I've heard a lot of people have been like, that game just doesn't end, and it there's a point where it should end, and it goes, no more. So yeah. I've heard that before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I got that far in the first one.
Probably didn't end
Might
for
have
you.
to do that. Yeah, well, it certainly did not end for me. Yeah. Joey, when are you going to get a Nintendo Switch?
Probably never.
Wow.
Ugh. What is this? Come on, it's the best console of this generation, because it has no competition.
What?
The PS5 and Xbox Sexbox isn't out yet.
Generations are made by sociologists, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair. Nintendo's kind of on their own game. They're their own generations.
Nah, don't be silly. They're competing with the Sexbox.
They don't really compete with the other two. They're just there on the side. People like to play it, but it's usually Xbox versus PlayStation. And then everyone else also has a Nintendo.
Everyone else also has a Nintendo. No, that's the PC, isn't it? Everyone also has a PC.
Well, I think a lot of PC gamers also have a Switch. Like, the Switch is just something you have on the side.
It's my side hoe. My Switch.
Your side hoe?
My side hoe.
Did anybody else watch the mini direct, or is it just me?
I'd never watch them. I get the reviews later because it's way easier than me.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it.
Well, I didn't know about it until I think, Kevin, you said something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's a direct today.
Yeah, I was like,
oh,
can't wait.
I'll watch that right now.
Can't wait to see what it was. I'll tell you guys later. But yeah. I just watched it.
I watched it immediately. I was like, okay, I got time.
Yeah. It's kind of how I handle E3 as well. I'm just like, okay, tell me what happened after.
Oh, I like E3. It's a fun beer drinking.
Yeah, but I immediately forget everything a week after they announce. I'm like, oh, that was neat. What games?
You don't write them down?
No. Because they're not coming out till next year anyway.
Gotta remember.
No.
How else are you gonna remember?
Everyone else talking about it mostly.
Oh, come on.
It's way easier.
Gotta work on your memory skills, Kevin.
Listen, I've been trying. It's been a lifelong battle, but...
all right, I guess I'll play another drop, and we can get to our games.
All right.
Let's see. What drop am I going to play that you guys can't hear?
All of them?
Yeah. Just hit all the buttons.
Alex Kidd.
Baseballs. Freebird.
Okay.
Was it Freebird?
44. No, it was the Alex Kidd in Miracle World
Podcast sucks.
song. It's very... it's very topical. All right, Colin. Bring us in. What's the theme? Why you chose it? Remind the listeners who skip the entire first section, because there are ones that do that.
Wow. Screw you guys.
Well, I put timestamps in every episode.
Screw them.
So, take us away, Colin.
The theme is Black Sheep of franchises. Games that, in some way, shape, or form, deviated pretty significantly from what the series they're part of does normally. and thus people tend to either reject it or just don't see it as fitting in with the rest of the series. A perfect example is Zelda 2, because just looking at it, you can see how radically different the gameplay is compared to the rest.
Castlevania 2, not Belmont's Revenge, the Simon's Quest.
A more modern example would be Metroid Other M.
Oh yeah, that would be a black sheep.
Most definitely.
You
All
didn't
right.
even use Federation Force as an example? Damn.
Well, I suppose.
Other
that would-
M is
well,
more publicized. People just forgot about Federation Force, I think.
Probably for the best, to be fair.
Well, it's all part of the mainline series too. Federation Force was kind of a spin-off. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean,
Yeah.
did Samus even show up in it? That's my question.
No.
Right. So, no, I really enjoyed this theme. It was very unique. It definitely gave me an excuse to play a few of the games, two of which I've wanted to play for a long time, because I've never played 3 of these games before. 3 out of the 5.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 out of 5 I've never played myself. Actually, no. Yeah, 3 out of 5.
And based on what I've heard over all 5 of these games as we go through them here, except one, with the exception of one, they all have really bad reputations in some form or another.
Absolutely.
And for the purpose of kind of where, like, okay, I got curious to the backgrounds of all these games, and some got just utterly thrashed with reviews, and some others got rave reviews, or got like Game of the Year nominations and kind of stuff. But more often than not, the developer of said game either got totally hammered where they don't exist anymore, or they moved on to other ventures because it was their last situation. So it was very interesting reading about kind of what and where happened to the studio, and what happened to the game, why it went in the direction that it did. So that was very interesting. Did you guys have any expectations or fears before playing any of these games for the podcast?
Expectation. Mostly just like not to. I guess when things get all black sheepy, like people just immediately dismiss it. But like once like time's passed and you're like, all right, let's look at it in its own light. Like, things aren't so bad. It's just you guys are being dicks. But not in this case. So maybe they were right. So maybe what I'm saying I contradict. But yeah.
No, you know what's a good example of that? Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when that game first came out and how it diverted to the little cartoony style, Toon Link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People rejected Wind Waker hard when it first came out, especially when it was first announced and they showed the gameplay of it.
Well, they also
I remember that.
Yeah, but they already like showed like a 3D model and then be like, oh, that's what I'm getting. And then the next E3, I'd be like, the fuck is this? You showed me something different. What is this?
Yeah.
Wasn't that developing Skyward Sword or something?
No, that was Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess?
Yeah, but like they already showed that, so you go in expecting that. And then when you get something different, you're like, okay, all right, that's different. And nothing like what you just showed me.
Yeah, but Wind Waker's a good example of, initial rejection, and then many years later, like you said, it's now a lot of people's favorite Zelda games. Mine included. I really like it. It's my favorite Zelda game. It's Wind Waker.
Yeah, my own story's a little interesting on that front. When I first saw it announced, I rejected it myself, but then I kept seeing more and more of it online closer to its release, and I was like, maybe this is actually pretty good. So, I ended up getting it on release, and I ended up loving it.
There you go.
All right.
So, What about you, Joey? Did you have any expectations or fears going into
No,
this?
none at all.
Great.
Just no previous thoughts or rumblings over any of the games?
I mean, only Doom 3 was the only one I was cautious about, but I mean, I don't really play Star Fox, so whatever. And
Nice.
I just knew the Tomb Raider was going to be terrible, and I had no idea whatever game you picked, so I don't even know the series of that one. And of course, Super Mario Brothers 2 I've played, so.
I'm sorry. I think you don't know this, but it was actually Doki Doki. I'm gonna stop. I feel like
We'll get to that.
Doki Literature Club. That's
by
right.
law, somebody has to say that every time Mario Brothers 2 is brought up. So,
But it begs the question with that one. I wonder if the reputation would have been hurt if they actually kept the real Super Mario Brothers 2 to come over or not.
yes.
Like, if
Yeah.
it was harder, would people turn away from
Mario-
Mario instead of this random ass game that they brought over?
Actual Mario Brothers 2 is ass.
So, did they make the right choice by going with this weird ass game?
No, both games are kind of boring.
Yeah, I think they probably should have scrapped it and just remade a new one.
Should just skip to 3.
But we could talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Colin. Then let's get into your first game.
Okay, first game is Doom 3 on the Xbox and PC. It was developed by id Software and published by Activision, although the remastered version on PS4, which is the version I played, was published by Bethesda. And it was
Assholes.
released on Xbox and PC on August 3rd, 2004. So, plot's fairly simple. You and a bunch of other Space Marines have been summoned to a science facility on Mars to investigate a bunch of incidents happening in the research labs, and not long after you arrive, all hell breaks loose, literally. You have to fight your way out. So, it's pretty much like Doom 1 and 2, except it takes almost an hour to really get going.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah. An hour and 15 minutes in, I could already see why this isn't particularly well liked among Doom fans. Because the environments are very samey. There's a ton of reading and audio video logs to read or to listen to.
My favorite part about Doom.
You're right.
And the combat isn't very exciting. It's basically System Shock wearing Doom's skin, which is not what Doom is supposed to be.
And System Shock actually has a plot worth your thought.
Yeah. It also kind of
So-
reminds me of Dead Space, the more I think about it, with a dash of Half-Life, with like the medical stations and such, but not nearly as good as those ones. My guess is that the id Software devs saw how well System Shock 2 did and wanted to try and capitalize on that success.
Well, from what I read, first question though, did anyone play the BFG edition?
No, I purposely
No.
didn't choose that one because they actually improved it a little bit in some sense.
Okay. I played the original Xbox version, which has the most egregious mechanical error, and that is you can't have your flashlight and a gun out at the same time.
I know. Well, how much
Can't
are
what,
these suits
sorry?
that you're in? You're a freaking Space Marine. You can't have a flashlight on it? Come on. Come on.
Huh. In the version
Can't
I
have a
played,
chest light?
in the version I played, it was mounted on the chest armor.
Then you played the BFG
So then
edition because they
You
changed
played
it.
the BFG edition.
Well, it wasn't labeled as such on the PSN store.
Well, that's
weird.
what they sell it on.
Well, shit.
From there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yep. So it's my understanding that in the early 2000s here in 2004, about 2001 to 4, horror games were finally able to kind of come to its own, and they kind of had a resurgence in popularity.
Oh yeah.
So it's my understanding from what I read that the developers of id wanted to just take Doom in a different direction and make it more of a horror-like experience.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so bigger emphasis on the story, try to get more involved with the characters, even though I think from you guys that have just played Doom 2016 and Eternal, Doom Guy is about killing some fucking hell demons.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you said the game clocks in around 12 hours, and I was like, man, it sure feels like it's going to be longer than that, because I got 45 minutes into the game, and I am not exaggerating when I say nothing happens.
Yeah, it's
Because
a
you
whole
just
lot of
walk around
walking.
the state. Yeah, it's you just walk around the space station. You're talking to the two people, and you're reading, and it's going through all this dialogue and text. And I'm like, man, because my first impression, or at least hope, was okay. I'm not heavy on into the Doom series. I do recognize it's very influential for first person shooters. It's a very well beloved series. It changed a lot of aspects of gaming. I may not be a Doom 2016 or Eternal guy, haha, not a Doom guy, but I do recognize, kind of like you, Kevin, with Yakuza, it's a good game, but it's not for me.
Okay,
right?
fair.
Okay, so in Doom 3 here, I'm like, okay, I like horror games. Maybe this will be the Doom game that will rope me in. So I was thinking, okay, it's going to be a slower pace. I won't have to be all stressed out all the time with hell demons flying at my face, and nothing was happening. And I'm going, oh no. I mean, the game looks good, especially on the Xbox in 2004. It looks great. There's nothing wrong graphically. I didn't come across really any glitches. The flashlight gun thing was very irritating. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's creating an atmosphere. I'm not feeling the atmosphere, but maybe that's the point to it. And then I get an hour in. Okay. Am I not activating something? And then at like hour 10, 15 minutes, Hell on Earth comes on the space station. Shit starts going down. You play for all of maybe 5-10 minutes. And then it gets slow again. And it just rinses and repeats that formula. And once I got through another 45 minutes of that, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so bored, right?
Yeah.
I'm not scared. It felt like the same enemies coming at me over and over again through these corridors that all look the same. So no, I was heavily disappointed with it, and to my surprise, this game got rave reviews when it came out. Game of the Year edition. It sold so well. It got like 90s across the board. It was praised for its atmosphere and mechanics and all sorts of things. And I was like, man, this game has a reputation for everyone hating on it and shitting on it. I was very surprised. So that was my thoughts and experience through Doom 3 here. Game goes for about $5, so I didn't spend too much money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it $5 on Steam. I constantly got lost. I thought I was going the right way, and it turns out I walked around in a circle. So I ended up not going anywhere fast. I didn't like that the stamina bar, because I like Doom is like Quake. You're supposed to just run around fast and go kill things. Just go. But I couldn't do that. And for some reason,
this isn't your father's Doom.
I don't know if it was in my head, but I felt like if I was using like the sprint and my shotgun, I actually killed things quicker than if I just shot them standing still. So
I think you're absolutely right on that.
Because I could one-shot them with the shotgun if I'm running at them, but it takes like 2 or 3 if I'm not, and it was confusing me. I don't know if that was supposed to be or if it's just some bug that's in the game. I don't know.
Maybe you get closer to the enemy,
I guess.
And it does
well,
more
sometimes
damage.
you have them standing still right in their face, it doesn't kill them. But if I sprint towards them, it kills them. I don't know. I could just be imagining things. But yeah, it just felt weird. But then I had a thought, what if they put this as a side project of Doom, and you're not a Doom guy, and you play it as a scientist? Would that make the game a little more scary, make more sense with all the data you have to go find? You're just some scientist dude trying to survive. It would feel more horror-y than being this super soldier just running around doing what you do in the first 2 games anyway.
I think you want to play Dead Space.
Maybe I'll check out Dead Space, but
I have a confession. I've never played Dead
Me
Space.
either.
Well, this is exactly what he's describing. Well, did someone say Kingdom Hearts? Boo! Boo, Kingdom Hearts. I heard a boo.
Fuck,
So-
boo.
Boo. Yeah, fine.
I guess I'll check out Dead Space. But, I mean, this game wasn't inherently bad. It just had things I didn't like that I didn't want to continue playing. I even tried to put down on easy, see maybe I can just run through the game and get further, but I kept getting lost, so it didn't even matter what difficulty I played on, I didn't get any further.
Did you guys discover the health pack and armor glitch in the game.
No.
It's not a glitch per se. It's so if you don't pick up various health packs and armor pickups, then enemies will not spawn to attack you. So I found myself at full health and full armor, not picking these things up, and I'm just walking through a good chunk of a level, and nothing's attacking me except like 2 enemies, and then the level ends, and I go, "What just happened?" Because nothing happened.
Oh boy.
And as it turns out, if you don't pick up these particular armor or health pickups, enemies just won't spawn and attack you. I was like, wow, that seems like a big miss.
Yeah.
I just went around killing the civilians before hell broke loose, just so they wouldn't be there to attack me later. It works some of the times. Other times they're still there attacking you.
Ah, well. To each their own. They're gonna die anyways. You just made it quicker for them.
There's no repercussions to it. They say, hey, don't shoot them, but you shoot them, nothing happens, so why not?
Kevin, haven't heard much out of you over there with Doom 3.
I mean, I don't know what else is it. I got bored of it pretty quickly because it's not Doom mostly. Like this isn't a Doom game. This is just some random ass shooter. But like, was Bethesda publishing this?
No, Activision.
Oh, no, it's the BFG one they did. That's right. Whatever it was. It's just boring. Like I mean, I played the BFG edition where the light was on your gun, but it was still just like dark and boring. I played like an hour of it. I was like, this isn't Doom. We can pretend this never existed. Like the only amusing thing about the game is the looking in the mirror Easter egg that jump scares the shit out of you. But beyond that, nope.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh my god, you got to look it up. And also, it's a jump scare, so be careful.
Well,
but yeah,
I don't scare easily.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm just scared all the time.
Oh, wow, that's a new way to go about it. Sure. It's just I was just bored of it. I mean, look, I'm gonna give a little spoiler. Most of these games, I'm just like, this is like the worst batch of games you've ever picked. And I was just...
Well, I mean, it creates good conversation, that's for sure.
I guess, but like I just had nothing to say because it was boring. Like, I didn't have fun with it after an hour. I was like, I could be doing anything else with my time right now. And I did.
Yeah.
I went back to Last of Us.
I felt like the weapons didn't have very much impact or punch to them.
They all felt like rip-off Halo weapons.
The shotgun, especially, didn't feel like it packed much of a punch, which in my opinion is criminal in any FPS.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like, that shotgun felt weak.
Yeah.
Question. Did Doom 26... Is Doom 2016 the first game that came out, Doom game, after Doom 3?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that went a long time
Because you fucked up.
without a title.
Wow. You fucked up.
But this game got critically acclaimed reviews and sold very well.
Hey, maybe critics are wrong.
Well, it looks like Doom 3 was an expansion. It was Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil came out in 2005. And then it was the BFG edition 2012 and then Doom 2016.
But you would think a game that sold as well as it did, and id Software being who they are, they would have
who they were
made a new Doom game.
Who they were.
No, who they are.
No, but like they're not the same company now. They're doing other things.
It's still id Software in the end. It's
different
still
people. Like they got different goals. They're owned now.
Yeah, but no one refers to, oh man, id Software 90s kicks id Software 2020's ass.
I mean, I honestly forget id Software exists. So there's that.
Oh.
I just consider them Bethesda now.
But it could be because of how the Quake engines came out.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Can I put WADs in Doom 3?
Let's see, when did the Quake engines come? I don't even know what year, but was there a gap between Quake 3 and Quake 4 engines?
I think so.
What about Quake Wars Enemy Territory? The best one.
All right. So I'm going to fail Doom 3.
Yup.
And you might hear a lot of that going forward.
I'm failing it, but I am willing to go back to it at another time and like maybe give it a try. again, but like playing this time, I was like, no, but that exists.
I was heavily disappointed with this game. Colin?
Despite my complaints, I honestly didn't hate this one. There were some moments where I felt genuine dread, and it's functional as an FPS, but overall it's not a very memorable experience, and as a Doom game, it definitely doesn't measure up, so I'm giving it a soft pass.
Okay.
As a standalone game.
Joey?
I'm gonna fail it.
All right.
Doom 3 sucks.
All right.
Confirmed.
Second game, Colin.
Okay. Second game is Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube. Developed by Rare and published by Nintendo. Released on the GameCube in North America and Japan in September 2002. And in Australia and the EU in November 2002.
Delay their suffering.
This is most definitely one of the most infamous examples of a game in a series deviating hard from what the overall series is known for. I guess you could say it was the universe balancing out after the awesomeness of Star Fox 64.
The only good Star Fox game, some would say.
Yeah. Now the story is there's a planet called Dinosaur Planet that's been taken over by this dictator tyrant named General Scales, and Fox McCloud.
Asshole he is.
What?
And his actions are causing the planet to be torn apart, and Fox and his crew have been hired by General Pepper to put the planet back together. So now, there is a lot to talk about with this game's development alone, particularly the fact that it wasn't originally meant to be a Star Fox game. It was originally in development as a brand new IP called Dinosaur Planet to be released on the N64. And the character Crystal, who you play as in the very first level, was supposed to be one of the main playable characters, because the way the Dinosaur Planet worked, it was going to be Crystal on one hand and then another character named Saber on the other. And you would switch perspectives every so often. But then after a while, Nintendo, specifically Shigeru Miyamoto, made the executive decision to make it into a Star Fox game, because the character Saber heavily resembled Fox McCloud, and then after a lot of back and forth, it ended up being turned into a Star Fox game.
Yeah, I was reading the big background of this one, as I did with a lot of these games. The people at Rare were apparently very upset that their new IP was just getting kind of usurped into this Star Fox skin.
Yeah,
and they had to. Why. Yeah, and they had to. They were immediately given the task to rework the entire stories to make it make sense with the Star Fox canon. Their new IP was just ripped from them, that they worked very hard on. They had then because of that big delay, then that just delayed it to the GameCube, in which, to be fair, it looks great. The game looks and feels great.
Oh yeah.
And the now this wasn't confirmed, but a lot of people at Rare, especially the people working on Dinosaur Planet, felt that because they were being bought by Microsoft, and this was their last game, the executive decision came down to make it a Star Fox game, so as to just kind of keep the Dinosaur Planet IP separate from Star Fox. So a big chunk of this game could not be taken over into Microsoft because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't confirmed or anything. It was just how people felt. And fans felt as well, apparently. So yes, this was in fact Rare's last game for Nintendo before being bought by Microsoft.
Yeah,
and haven't made a good game since.
It was really their
fun
last?
Fact. Huh?
It was their last, because what about Diddy Kong Racing on DS? That had Rare all over it.
Well, that's a port, and Rare was still allowed to, because Microsoft didn't have handhelds.
Okay.
They were still allowed to port old IPs onto the handhelds.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you know this game was released literally one day before Microsoft announced their partnership with Rare?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because they were being bought.
It's pretty wild.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to disagree that they didn't make any good games. Viva Pinata?
Yeah,
That's a
okay,
good
sure.
game. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a
Okay.
game.
It's a game, yeah. All right.
I can't believe I was proven wrong so quickly.
Wow.
So quickly.
You must not know about Cameo Elements of Power. Thank you.
Is that a Kinect title?
No, that is a 360 title.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Perfect Dark Zero.
So I actually played this one as a Blockbuster rental way back around the time it was released
Ah.
and beat it.
Oh.
And I have a confession to make. I kind of like this one.
Ew.
I know, heresy.
Ew.
I mean, I know it's no Zelda Wind Waker, but it's still
Definitely a
found it
Zelda.
fairly fun. I mean, just call it a guilty pleasure, I guess.
Hmm.
I mean, you could argue that makes it more infuriating because if Rare had been allowed to continue making it as Dinosaur Planet, they could have had a really cool new IP on their hands.
I agree with that, actually, because I was very much not feeling this game at first. I thought, again, it was kind of boring. I didn't really know where to go. I thought the game lacked a lot of direction. But as soon as you kind of figure out, oh, okay, I need the staff upgrades, this is how it works. I thought the targeting system was very aggravating at times. But
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the whole dinosaur talk for a good 30 minutes
Oh,
of the
yeah.
game opening.
That
That was very bizarre.
It's like, the Dinosaur Planet, general scales, That's
Yeah,
literally what it sounds like.
Yep.
I was very thrown off. That kind of took me out of it for a good chunk. But the more I played of it, I was like, man, this is the thought I was going through. Because, of course, this game has a reputation of it's not Star Fox. They fucked up. I can't believe they did this to Star Fox. When I kind of feel the other way around. I can't believe they did this to Dinosaur Planet.
Yeah.
Because if this didn't have the Star Fox skins, I would like this game so much more.
See,
Because
for
then
sure.
I don't think it was just
feel
skins.
more. Well, no, they had to rework a lot of the game to go with the Star Fox canon and everything, and rework the characters. But what I'm saying is, if they would have kept those original characters and kept that story of kept it Dinosaur Planet as opposed to making it Star Fox Adventures, I think this would have been a smash hit.
I disagree.
Would it have sold as well without the Star Fox? That's probably where it
Probably no,
lies differently.
but the thing is, this is straight up a Zelda clone. So I think everyone would have played it and gone, yep, that wants to be Zelda real bad. And like now we just have like, it could have either been a bad Zelda clone or now it's a bad Star Fox game wanting to be a Zelda clone. And the whole time I was playing, I was like, there's other good games on GameCube, like Zelda, I could play. I'm going to do that. And
I wouldn't say it's a bad Zelda clone, though.
I would.
I wouldn't say it's bad. I just think, because after I got done playing, I looked at a Let's Play later in the game, and it looks like they spliced in Star Fox and shoehorned it in some of the game. Because at one point, you're flying one of the dinosaurs and you're starting to shoot blasters. Where did the dinosaur get the blasters? It doesn't make
Don't
sense.
ask questions.
And then later, you're actually
Why-
in a spaceship,
Joey,
and you're
why
fighting in
would-
space. Why is that even in the game?
Reasons.
If they would have actually spent time and fixed up some of the things, this game could be a whole lot better instead of just shoehorning Fox in. But
Well, that's exactly it. Rare was pressed for time, so that's why like the later half of the game just feels so rushed.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were being bought, and their contract was up at said date, so they had to finish the game, otherwise it was gone.
Yeah, there's a Nitro Rad video about it.
Honestly, it would have been fine if it was
YouTube.
canceled. I don't find it memorable other than it's a meme now.
Well, yeah. I mean, Star Fox talking. This was bizarre. So you have Fox McCloud talking to a downed Triceratops, like straight out of Jurassic Park, and the Triceratops like dying or whatever, talking dinosaur, but Fox McCloud doesn't speak dinosaur. They have it in the game where Slippy must translate to Fox through the intercom of what's happening. So Fox is staring at this Triceratops, talking the dinosaurian speak, and he even has this confused look. He's like, all right, you done talking yet? Rolls his eyes, and then he goes, all right, Slippy, what the fuck they'd say? You know, it's like, oh, his child was stolen, go save it. Got it. It's like, what? What is happening?
It's a really good sign when your in-game characters even know this game sucks.
Yeah, it was like, man. I think that was a quip from the Rare developers, like, you made us change this.
Yeah. It's a lot like Donkey Kong Country 2, where they made Donkey Kong the damsel in distress. To has a big fuck you to Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yup.
All right. Colin, what else you got to say over Star Fox? I mean, it goes for $11. It's not expensive or anything.
You guys pretty much nailed everything else I was gonna say. Although, I will point out the stock sound effects.
Yeah.
It's like with the Fire Blaster, it uses the same sound effect as the Kako demons from Doom 1 and 2 firing their energy balls. And those small winged enemies in the first section, that laugh they have, I swear I've heard somewhere else before.
It does use a lot of generic sound effects. So, you're probably right.
And then
you know what the combat reminded me of?
Zelda.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. Because both games you use a staff.
Yeah, you're attacking with the staff. It has the same kind of ending combo attack, where it's the forward jump slash, and then the enemy, when it dies, it goes in that slow motion, epic kind of sparkly destruction mode. And you're like, yeah, satisfying. I killed a dinosaur.
Wow. I helped Extinction.
That's the thing about the combat in this game. It's really boring. You're just tapping the same button over and over again until the enemy dies.
Yeah, the combat was lacking.
You could use the blaster.
Combat's
good, but it's still not a very deep combat system.
Yeah.
It's very inhumane to shoot dinosaurs. Everyone knows that. God.
Come at me, Kevin.
Oh, no. I'm scared.
But at least we did get some R-Wing sections to keep the connection with the Star Fox series at least somewhat intact. But those sections felt very basic and uninteresting. I mean, they looked good, but I felt like they were just there as a token effort.
You know what those sections felt like?
What's that?
The Kingdom Hearts gummy ship.
Boo!
Nah, these were done better.
A little better. I mean, it wasn't as good as the Ratchet and Clank in between planet sections that the later games did, but I was like, man, I do not. Like, how much of a miss is it for you to have a Star Fox game and you don't like or are into the space battleship sections?
I did like the music in those sections, though, and a few of the other sections. I mean, it had a decent soundtrack overall. Although, did anybody else laugh when Sonic... Or no,
Sonic.
Why did I say Sonic?
Because this game's a furry game, that's why.
When Fox is at...
Oh my god, Crystal? Jesus, those damn titties are out right at the start.
I was gonna say, Fox goes to... sees Crystal in person for the first time, stuck inside that prison crystal, and then there's this porno sax playing in the background. It was hilarious.
Speaking of Crystal...
Hey, can we just melt this ice? How long till she wakes up? It's like, whoa, Fox! Dude!
Let's get this going, guys. I hate that they had to also shoehorn Crystal into another Star Fox game because this game existed, Command on DS. So like now she's like canon, and I'm like, oh fuck.
I mean, she is a fox creature.
Sure, maybe. I don't care though. So
I didn't hate this game. It was lacking in a lot of areas. It just kind of made me sad that two IPs were kind of thrown together to not make a good game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, despite me trying to get into it, I'm still going to fail it. It just really had me thinking of quite a few things of the game. The game clocks in around 17 hours, so it's a long experience.
Yeah,
maybe too long.
I'm going to give this another very, very soft pass.
You are too nice.
I'm a soft pass it too.
Like I said, this is just a guilty pleasure for me.
I slightly enjoyed it enough to pass it, so.
Good, I'm not alone this time.
Kevin, your game.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's this game, Super Mario Bros. 2, right? And at one point, it was called Doki Doki Panic. Did you guys know that?
Oh, no.
I did not.
Whoa, crazy.
Never
right?
heard of it before.
Even though it was developed and published by Nintendo, released September 1st, 1988. I was going to just start off by saying it's Super Mario Bros., but it's not. Upon playing this as a kid, this game creeped me out. Like, the first time I ever played it, because I had the All-Stars version. And, like, something about the music was just, like, it seemed super off. Like, I knew what Mario Brothers was, obviously, but, like, just something about the music seemed super off. I couldn't jump on enemies. And, like, I probably as a kid never really got past, like, the second level, because I was like, this just isn't fun. And when I got a Game Boy Advance as a, I don't know how old I was, but I played Super Mario Advance and Mario Brothers 2 was on there. And I just, still the same thing. It's just something about it just doesn't feel right. And it could completely be that, like, it's a Mario game without, you know, being able to jump on enemies. But, like, Mario 64, you could punch enemies. So, like, it's not abnormal for Mario to go off script. But I find this game really boring. Like, I don't find any of the environments or the music or the platforming very good. Everything feels slippery, which in a Mario game, it's, like, pretty tight overall. Like, Mario has a little bit of momentum when he runs, but, like, everything in this game constantly feels on ice. And it kind of makes the platforming bad. And then, so you're like, okay, well, these four characters have different attributes. Mario's your all-around guy, but he feels like everything's on ice. So he plays Luigi, who jumps higher. But then I can't control.
He also kicks his feet as he jumps 3 times the height.
As if he was on ice and air, and I still can't, like, land him straight. So then I play as Peach, who floats, and then as I float and land, it still feels like she's sliding everywhere. And then you play as Toad, who's handsome. He's not even having sleeves because he's so cool. He's fine. But just I was bored, and it just came down to every level. Get to the end, fight Birdo. Maybe she spits fireballs this time, or he, depending on what lore you go by. Go in the Eagle Mouth, do it again, and I was just like, I don't like this. I just don't.
You can beat the game in 15 minutes.
You can, and guess what? You could probably do anything else in 15 minutes. Like, I know there's people who live the hipster life, and they go, oh, people just hate it because it's, like, the different Mario, but actually, it's got superior. I don't give a fuck, dude. It's just boring. Like, I went into it with high hopes. I'm like, I'm an adult now. I get it. I know it's not there, but, like, I'm bored.
Well, who was your go-to character? Did
Toad.
you just
Toad's
switch between
handsome.
all of them?
Why would I pick anybody but Toad? You see that?
See, I don't like playing as Toad because it feels like his jump is so much shorter, and he moves quicker, just a little bit, and that little bit made a big difference in life or death for me. So I was always Peach as a kid, and as I played this game for the podcast this time around, I found myself sticking to Luigi because he could kind of float down from his jump, and you can then land more specifically on top of enemies, and then the big mechanic here is you land on top of an enemy or pull a turnip up from the ground with the B button. And I think it's the B button.
It's a B button.
And yeah. And then you pull it over your head and you can throw it. And sometimes a turnip will reveal a door. And if you get the door mechanic, there's, I think, level 1, 5, and 7. 5 is the... I could easily have these stages wrong. I'm going off the top of my head here. 5 has the whale tail that you land next to, and that'll reveal a door to warp you to 7, and that'll get you to basically the end of the game.
Well, that's kind of how the first Mario is. You can go from the first to the end and beat it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, with the whole flute and warping, but in this one, it was more arbitrarily hidden. Like, you just had to go to the specifically right whale in the specific right spot. So I'm like, I don't know if I like that part. Because at least in Mario 3 with the flute, the very first Mario taught you to jump above the screen, and that'll get you to warp zones.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't in this one. I feel you, Kevin. The game felt even a little bit samey after 2 levels.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why. Yeah, I'm with you a little bit on the game gets bored a little bit quick, especially after you face Birdo like 3 times. You're like, man, how many times am I gonna destroy this fucking thing?
He, she, whatever it may be.
To be fair,
whatever you want.
The first game had the same boss at the end of every world, too.
Yeah, but it was actually a Goomba in disguise, and also those fights were fun. And if you didn't want to fight Bowser with a Firefly, you literally just had to go yeet over an axe, and then there you go, level beat. Like, the only real hard Bowser fight was the last one.
Well, the hard Birdo fight is definitely when you have to move blocks around and avoid the fire as eggs are coming at you at the same time. You always have to jump at the specifically right time to land on the egg so you can pull it up and use it as the ammunition. So at least there's a challenge behind that. Is it fun? That's up to your interpretation. This kind of falls into that Star Fox Adventures category of if the skin wasn't there, if the Mario Brothers or the Star Fox moniker wasn't there, would Dinosaur Planet, in this case Doki Doki Panic, sell as well? In this case, definitely not.
No.
Without Mario on there, there's no way Doki Doki would have sold in the West. No way.
I don't know. The thing is, like, I feel like people make themselves like this game more because it's a Mario game, technically. But very few people go, "This is my favorite Mario."
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't hate Super Mario Brothers 2 at all. I do have fun with it. It does falter, as I'm playing it, but it's definitely not. Man, what Mario game do I want to play? This is probably like among the last.
Right. It's not my. It's never going to be my first Mario game I want to play.
It's not even the first one on the NES I want to play.
No. So
I actually just didn't like it. Like, I don't think I'll ever voluntarily play this game again.
right. That's what I'm saying too. Like, even though I don't hate it, I'm never going to be like Mario 2 anybody. Like,
Yeah, it's just-
no.
Yeah. I didn't hate it either, but I probably won't go back to it.
What is with the second games in series on the NES where they have to divert so hard?
Experiment. Video games are still like new again. They had to be like, okay, we did that. They want something new. Like, we were still figuring it out.
Yeah, maybe they
Zelda,
didn't think people wanted the
Castlevania,
same
Mario.
thing. They're like, let's get people back, but not give them the same game. But turns out we kind of want the same game.
Turns out, eh? Anybody have like a hated level or a level they did like?
All the ice levels. Because again,
Yeah.
You hated the ice.
they're already flippy. Oh, and any level where I had to get that bird off the flying carpet and then ride it for half the level, I was like, wow,
Oh, yeah.
gameplay. Whoa.
That took me so many tries.
It was annoying. So,
I don't know. The first time you had to do it, you had to be like at a very specific spot to be able to get to a high up ledge in order to actually advance.
Yeah.
So that really.
Well, that's where
ground my
Luigi comes
gears.
in. Luigi comes in, solves a lot of Mario Brothers 2 problems.
yeah, by just being Green Mario. Good job.
Yeah. Well, level to level, the whole game pretty much takes 3 hours, so it's not horribly long. You can definitely beat it in an afternoon. I did not beat it. I just kind of played an hour through it and got a good chunk of the way through. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good with Mario 2.
Yeah, I had to save scum a lot.
Ooh, we'll get the save scumming.
I saved scum not because of difficulty, just because I wanted it to be over.
Oh, and by the way, it was all a dream.
Yeah,
It was all a dream.
good, because I wouldn't want to live through this for real.
This is actually the most expensive game out of our 5 we picked for the cast.
Nintendo
Runs
tax.
in at $15.
Gotta pay Nintendo tax.
Well, Star Fox on the GameCube wasn't that expensive.
Yeah, but they're paying Nintendo tax because that game's bad. And then it was like, oh, well, if it's $1, we gotta tax this, guys.
So I'm gonna pull the Joey, pull the Colin, pull the Kevin. It gets a soft pass from me. It's definitely not the
Same.
worst game on the list.
I'm
Giving
gonna
it
fail it.
the softest of passes.
I'm
like-
gonna fail it.
Yeah. It got a 65.1 if 65 is failing.
It is failing.
Oh, well, all right. Well, I tried to curve your grade, but, you know.
No, 65 is indeed a fail.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 65.1.
Yeah.
So, you know-
Anything below a 70 out of 100 is an F.
Okay, 70.1. Whatever.
Okay. All right, now we're on my pick. Oh boy.
Yep.
So
I'm going to pee.
we've done Alex Kidd in the past. Okay. Let's see. We've done Alex Kidd in Miracle World before. We haven't done any of the other offshoots. So this is a black sheep of the Alex Kidd franchise because Alex Kidd, for the Master System, not only was Alex Kidd the kind of de facto mascot of its time, but every Alex Kidd game was kind of this weird offshoot with a totally different theme of the previous Alex Kidd game. So Miracle World's kind of this scrolling platformer. Lost Stars was a side-scrolling platformer. Then there's like High Tech World, where it's kind of this adventure, horrid detective game, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very strange. This one, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, was the first and last game on the Genesis. It's the only sequel to any other Alex Kidd game. This goes by the alias Miracle World 2, and this is the one that they did make one last Alex Kidd game called Shinobi World, which I've never played, but they released that on the Sega Master System in 1990. So that should give you an idea of what it is. But this game, Enchanted Castle, essentially killed Alex Kidd the mascot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the game goes for about $10. I played this via the Genesis collection on the PS3. That's how I played this one. Developed, published by Sega, released February 10th, 1989. So almost a year to the date after my birth.
Happy birthday, nerd.
Yeah. This game clocks in about an hour. I beat it in like 48 minutes, I think was the time. It's very short. It's basically kind of Miracle World, but it's so much more bare bones basic to it all. It sticks with the rock, paper, scissors mechanics for boss fights, as in there's only like 2 of them in the entire game. So you do rock, paper, scissors in all the stores. And there's actually a pattern to it where you do rock, scissors, paper. So if you go into each store, you can basically get that pattern, right? And beat them on the first try each time. So my first playthrough, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. It was just kind of a theory I had, and it worked out. And even if you lose one time, you can just play again and pick the same thing, and you'll generally win immediately the second time. Because the computer will never choose the same thing twice, and it's usually the one that will lose to the first one you chose. So that's how that works out. So yes, it has a lot of the same mechanics as the Alex Kidd games, but because it's a sequel, it kept the stores where you have your items. It's a one-hit kill system. If you get the power ring, so your very first screen, you just kill every enemy, get your money, get the power ring. And that gives you a punch with kind of a wave that extends out. And once you get that wave, as long as you're not stupid in your jumping, you'll just blast through the game without even an issue. Okay? And if you lose that power ring, there are stores later in the game where you can just get it back right away, or find a block with the ring in there. So you get your... And the game is aplenty with extra lives, so it's very, very lenient in that regard. So there's only about 4 or 5 levels. The quote-unquote fourth level of the game is a rehash of the first one, basically, with all the stores back, so you can load up on your items from the money you've collected, and go to the last stage, which is the only fun... I would say it's the only like really fun, challenging level in the entire game. Because it kind of encourages you to use the pogo stick, the pedal copter, it gets you to think about all those items that you've had throughout the game. So you would think as a Genesis title they would have upped a lot of things, maybe gone through with Alex Kidd as a bigger and better character. But for some reason, they just didn't really try in this game, and I couldn't find any concrete reason why they went about this the way they did. What did everyone else think of Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle?
I felt like in this game, this was the real 2D platformer that felt like everything was on ice.
Hmm.
I mean,
yes, Alex Kidd is perpetually always slipping.
Yeah, that was a big problem for me in the final castle level, because there were multiple times where you're going through an opening to the next screen, and then as soon as you're in there, you realize you're only on one single square of floor to stand on, but then you're still sliding. You only have a fraction of a second to react, and if you don't, you end up sliding into like a lava pit. And that killed me so many times. I had to save state the shit out of this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the first Miracle World, where there's just trial and error cheap deaths. They definitely went the route of a lot less in this one, but there's still at least 3 instances in that final castle where new screen, there's a spike, you're dead. Which is unacceptable in any game. I don't care if, you just gotta trial and error it. No. That's a cheap death. It's there to eat a quarter, basically, and that's it.
And I found the helicopter stage was a real workout for my right thumb, because you had to hammer on the jump button the whole time to stay airborne.
That was dumb.
And once it was over, I felt it in my entire arm.
It's good game.
I just prefer to just screw that and just go in the water, because there's more money you can get down there anyways. But really, what the game's trying to encourage you to do is use the unique item. In that case of stage 2, I believe is what we're talking about here. You get the copter. You're supposed to get as much money as you can without running into any of the red blocks, because if you do that, that breaks your item. And if you die with an item equipped, you lose that item. So if you come to a section where you might have a little trouble, as long as you just unequipped said item right then and there, then when you respawn, you will still have all your items. So at least that part I really like to kind of develop some sort of strategy. But yeah, essentially it encourages you to use the item and then go about the rest of the level without the item, so you can collect the money. Yeah. It's very bare bones and simplistic to it. I was extremely disappointed. The game has bad reviews, and it's basically because of everything we've mentioned. There's just nothing to it. It's very slippery, even more slippery than the other Alex Kidd games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This, and I can totally see why this kind of killed all aspirations and aspects of Alex Kidd, not only being a mascot, but any future games. Because we see the Wonder Boy series kind of having a small little cult resurgence within Sega. And then there's Alex Kidd here, who's just kind of this forgotten franchise. It's very sad, especially when Lost Stars and a couple other games of the Alex Kidd series are generally a lot of fun. This is not one of them. I easily fail this. This is a heavy disappointment.
Yeah, there were a few things I liked. Like, I liked all the different items you can get. I liked how the visuals were. I mean, there was some parallaxing at play in some levels, which kind of added some depth to it. And I did find it amusing how in the forest level, the enemies are a bunch of chibi Jason Voorheeses as lumberjacks.
Yeah, Wampaku Graffiti, which we played.
Yeah, I was wondering if one of the developers for that game was working on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look into that, but yeah, I definitely was like, man, where'd Jason Voorhees come from here?
And the ending was really weird, in that there's a big twist that Alex's dad was not a prisoner, but the final boss was in fact his servant, and he was living happily. So.
Oh my god, the story. Yeah.
This is a story.
So oh god, okay. So Alex Kidd's brother is king of the land, of the planet land, whatever. And it's presumed that their dad is dead. Okay? And then it just goes, but then Alex found out his dad was actually alive and he was prisoner on this other planet. Off we go. Then he goes, everything's of course trying to kill him, and then he gets there and it just goes, oh, hi son, how you doing? No, I'm king here too. This is all planned. And Alex is like, oh, I'm glad to see you. And they hugged. And both planets are now friends.
I feel like they had a big plot, and then like this is still the time when video games were kids' toys, so they're like, yo, you can't do that. You gotta fix that. So
I'm like, dude, you knew your kid was here, I guess, and the final boss was trying to murder him, and you're just like, no, he serves me. Like, are you telling me that you were trying to murder your child?
I was testing you, my son. You passed the trial. Don't tell your mother.
Yeah.
Me and the servant here are getting along real good, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I gotta fail this one.
I was so disappointed in this. I really didn't want to believe, what I read, and it's such a hard fail. I'm very disappointed. Because I'm an Alex Kidd fan. I really am.
Well, that's one.
And this was a huge miss. Huge miss.
Yeah.
I didn't like a single thing about this game. It
Go
was
on.
terrible. I hated the sound. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the gameplay. I don't know. There's nothing in this game. I'm definitely failing this.
Yeah.
Aw.
The whole time.
Well, it's a Master System game that they put on the Genesis, basically.
Wow, that makes me want
It
to play
just doesn't
more.
work. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
No.
Too bad.
It's all right. You tried. Just don't again. And they didn't.
No, they did not. All right. Oh, Joey, the last game of the cast and your game.
Tomb Raider,
Oh, boy.
Angel of Darkness.
Hey, Joey, can we have a quick discussion before we start this? What the fuck?
JD asked if I wanted to pick this game, and I did, so blame it on him. This is kind of his
Yeah.
pick.
It is not my pick. It is your pick, Joey.
So it's,
Blame it on me. I'm the one who made everybody remember it exists.
it's on PS2, but I played on Steam since JD graciously bought it for me.
I sure did. It was my gift to you,
Oh.
Joey. I'm so happy you were able to experience Angel of
What a
Darkness.
Jeez,
gift it was.
I got it for $1 on GOG.
It was 97 cents on Steam.
What a
Close
game it
enough.
is.
I spent good,
I'm paying
hard-earned
Canadian
money.
dollars.
I think JD's a bad person, guys.
I think so too. So this was developed by Core Design and published by, is that Eidos Interactive? I guess
Yeah.
they got bought out by
I think
Square
it's
Enix.
Eidos.
Eidos, whatever. They're terrible. It came out in 2003, and it's just a really bad game. I played like 20 minutes of it, couldn't get out of the back alley because it annoyed me. The camera angles are terrible, so I tried getting all the mods that quote unquote fix the game, but they didn't really do anything to really fix the game. It was still terrible. And why is Lara Croft like 66% legs? Her body proportions are so off. It's weird.
Are you not into that?
No, I mean I like.
Sorry, Kevin, I got none
I
of
like
that.
normal proportioned women, that actually have like a stomach and
Like
an
new
upper
Lara
body.
Croft?
Someone that looks normal, not like legs that are all the way up to the neck kind of thing. It's just weird looking.
Like new Lara Croft. You're into that.
Sure.
Alrighty.
This game just bad. It's just bad, and I don't know how you played so much of it, JD.
Yeah.
Oh, before I go on my tangent of explaining why Angel of Darkness is so great, I want to hear what Kevin and Colin have to say about it.
Said before the cast, because I lived through you vicariously and I already knew what this is about, I didn't feel the need to continue. So you know what? That's it. And I'm good. And you know what? I feel like I made the right choice after hearing everything you did. Everything.
Joey, I was texting Joey as I got to the end sections of the game.
I'm sorry to hear, Joey.
Of that experience I was
luckily
having.
the game crashed for him, so he couldn't complete it.
Ah, good. Wait, what?
Oh no, I did finish it.
I was gonna say, I thought you did.
Oh, I finished it. But we'll get to the crash part
Who hurt
a
you?
little later.
Who hurt you, JD?
What'd you think, Colin, of Angel of the Darkness?
Slow and tedious is the best way I can describe this game.
Yes, slow and tedious. It really tests your patience
Yeah, I
of the
did
common
not.
man.
I did not get past the Paris section. There's just too many fetch quests, too much shit going on.
Fetch quest. There was 2.
Too many.
Yeah, that is too many. That's not what Tomb Raider is supposed to be.
Escort
Tomb Raider
missions?
is
Any
supposed
escort missions?
No, there was no
well,
escort
then this
missions
game's
in the game.
bullshit.
Tomb Raider is supposed to be about exploration, environment traversal, and shooting enemies, not fetching shit from nightclubs with big racks of flashy lights going off.
Big
at
racks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big racks.
Yeah.
Oh, there was definitely big racks. You get those boob physics down, guys?
Important question: could you lock the butler in the freezer in this game?
There was no butler.
Oh, well, this game sucks.
There was no butler to lock.
This game sucks.
The game is very non-straightforward.
Oh, I disagree actually with that
I do
completely.
want to say that dog that's in the first area, I thought it was just barking at me, but apparently it was close enough and it killed me. I was so confused. It wasn't making any attacking gestures, but then all of a sudden I died. I was like, okay, died by barking.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. The Steam version of Angel of Darkness here, the dog is actually glitched out a good 9 out of 10 times you'll play, where it won't move and it's stuck in a still position. Yeah. That's the very first sequence of the game. The little tutorial level, one might call it.
Oh boy.
Well, I never made it past it.
Why the hell is there a stamina meter? That is highly unnecessary and stupid. Does not belong in Tomb Raider.
Do you
And
not
stealth
get
elements
tired?
and RPG elements? Fuck those.
Do you not get tired while raiding tombs? Because that's realism, sir.
No,
Well,
Lara
one
Croft.
would have to get to the tomb section in order to read
Are there
it.
tombs in this game?
Yeah.
There are, yes, there are.
Hey, man.
But you have to get past Paris first.
I mean, like,
So there's
you know,
no tombs.
anything could be a tomb if you think about it. You know.
Oh,
Now, there is a graveyard with mausoleums.
Yeah.
so
See. You know.
There's tombs. They're just very, very small.
Oh, it's like shrines in Zelda. Really, this is the next Breath of the Wild, is what I'm hearing.
All right, so the game clocks in around 15 hours, according to How Long to Beat. It took me 19
Great.
to beat this game. And
Sorry you hate
so
yourself,
there,
dude.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
the-
who
the
hurt you.
the story behind core design, and this is actually a pretty sad story in how everything went down.
Yeah, you played it. We know. But
Because as I started playing, I started playing the PS2 version, and just because it took so much longer for it to load, then played the Steam version because then I could much more quickly save scum, and because at least this game has the save scum ability inherently natural to
You
it.
played 2 versions of this game?
Yeah, I did.
Why do you hate yourself?
Because the Steam version was so much faster and easier.
It wanted to end your suffering quicker.
And it was 97 cents. I'm like, I eventually have to install the mods and the control mod to make it easier. It is a little better.
Who made mods for this game? Who bothered?
Lots of people. It has a huge following because it's Tomb Raider.
Oh boy.
I hate people.
So the story of core design, I read a number of articles over this. So the original 6 core design people that made the first 2 Tomb Raider games, they were essentially done with Tomb Raider after that. And Tomb Raider became so heavily popular, as we know from the 90s magazines, sex symbol, this and that.
I mean, yes.
And it made an ungodly amount of money that Eidos, the publisher, goes, keep pumping out games, right? So the first 5 games came out annually. So the Assassin's Creed situation, right? But after the first 2, the original 6 people were done with Tomb Raider. They wanted to make something else. And their idea was to start making the PS2 game, right? They weren't allowed to do that. So they were put on different projects. So this new team came in and made 3, 4, and 5. And of course, after the second game that this new team made, going into 5, they were burnt out and done. And that showed in the product of Chronicles, right? All sounds all well and good, but now you have 2 teams that are totally burned out from the Tomb Raider franchise. This third team came in a 5-year development cycle trying to make Angel of Darkness into this kind of GTA thing, right? Grand Theft Auto. Because the whole idea behind the Paris level was this huge interactive environment and world. And what happened was they got the dev kit for the PS2 early because Tomb Raider was just so ungodly popular, right? Always critically acclaimed until the 5th one, which still got good reviews, but it universally kind of it's very samey now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every franchise, when you pump game over game, will eventually have that. So the members of the original 6 and various members of that second team all came into the Angel of Darkness team. So now you have just 100 people working on this one game. Oh. And these new people that came in, whom have worked on, to date, 5 Tomb Raider games, looked at how far they'd come and what their ideas were, and they go, you guys are fucked.
Wow.
Because all their ideas were bad. Like, the ideas were there, but every time they tried to execute something, it was not going to work. They're pretty much making a PS1 game on a PS2 game. Or on a PS2. They're making a PS1 game with PS1 controls on a PS2. Because it doesn't use the right analog stick at all for camera work and any of that. The camera still turns with Lara. And they messed with the controls. So they added the stamina meter. They wanted whole RPG elements to it, which were totally scrapped because it was too much that they were trying to do with the game. So they scrapped so much and changed the controls to now make the game work. So that's why the controls are as bad as they are, because they were trying to make it work within the environment. So it was kind of a last-ditch effort to save the game. Okay?
Oh boy.
So they took away the back step. They added the stamina meter. Now you have to find various like doors or blocks before you can move on to a different, like, the game's more or less linear in its platforming, but occasionally, so let's say you're in the nightclub. You can't open this door, and Laura will go, I'm not strong enough yet, okay? So then you turn left, and you go to a bridge, and you kick it down. Now she goes, I feel stronger. Now you can go and progress through the rest of that section, because now you can bust the door open.
You guys don't have that issue? You guys don't go kick down bridges before you open doors?
I mean, I do it on a daily basis. It's how I work out. I get stronger that way.
Or do you get stronger or do you feel stronger?
I feel stronger.
Okay, well that means you could do it.
I can't confirm nor deny if I actually do get stronger.
Well, if you feel it, I mean, you are, you know?
Yeah. So there's a lot of mechanics in this game that are just kind of shoehorned in for the rest of the game to work. If this game didn't have the save scum option, it would be unplayable. Like, absolutely atrociously unplayable. Because let's say, hypothetically, that it had kind of the save system of the first couple Tomb Raiders, or the first one specifically, where you have to find the little blue diamond, and that'll save your progress, and then if you die, you go back to the blue diamond. In this one, anytime you came to a crazy jump that you had to make, you would save scum, right? Just like, let me save this before I make this jump. Oh, I fell. Load. Oh, I fell. Load. Oh, I fell. Load. I wish I had a death counter in this game. I really do. Because I died a lot. So, the guys at Core Design, when they finally completed Angel of Darkness, it finally, the game came out. The whole idea was it was going to be a trilogy of this fantastical story. The game got torched in reviews, as it deserves. All right. However, it still sold very well. It sold over like 2.5 million copies.
That's too many.
It's not the worst Tomb Raider that's made money. That goes to the Anniversary Edition, and then Legend, and... Underworld, yes.
That one I beat, I remember vaguely.
So, Core Design, coming out of Angel of Darkness, we're like, okay, we know how the PS2 works now. We can now develop a PS2 game, not a PS1 port, basically, on the new technology. Because graphically, the game looks good. But that's it, right? It's the graphics of a PS2 game. So Core Design's all anticipating, the new team wants to come back. They felt like Tomb Raider's been besmirched, one might say. And Eidos, despite success, they just went, fuck off, Core Design.
Nice.
You guys are done. They ripped the Tomb Raider license from them and gave it to Crystal Dynamics in California. So while they were making Legend, right, for later down the road, the original 6 of Core Design were like, we gotta save Tomb Raider. A couple of guys came up with the idea to make the 10th Anniversary Edition. They had a fantastical demo, all for the PS2, all kinds of things. And you can actually look up the demo that they released, and it's actually way better than one could imagine. Instead of just kind of this reskin of the Crystal Dynamics engine that they used. Because what made the Tomb Raider game series so special is every game kind of played off a different engine. Kind of like the whole Half-Life thing, where we want to make the next game with the new engine, and except in Tomb Raider's case, it's not going to be, the top of the top tier. They want to make every game feel different. So the Core Design guys made this new demo for the anniversary, and it was such a good idea, and the guys at Eidos loved it so much, they go, that's a great idea. Guys at Crystal Dynamics are going to go do that one. So, Core Design got that ripped out of them, got the Tomb Raider license ripped out from them, and their idea to make a really good Anniversary Edition. So, Crystal Dynamics got Tomb Raider, which they still have to this day, with Eidos and Square now that they're acquired. And Core Design tried to make a couple other games because that's what the original 6 were working on in between. And eventually, Core Design, it's gone.
Whoa!
Just like that, one of the hottest developing companies on the planet of the time, just gone within just a couple years. And it was more or less because of Eidos forcing them to pump out games. It was a literal force. and then they get their own license ripped from them. It's a real shame. So I went into Angel of Darkness with a lot of sympathy to the studio, and I'm a big Tomb Raider fan, so I felt as a fan I needed the sympathy play. And I actually ended up enjoying the game despite its enormous amount of horridness.
You're a sick man.
So, the backstep's gone, a lot of control issues, and I think let's say hypothetically that the controls worked, okay? Let's say hypothetically the controls worked. I know it's a very big hypothetical, but let's say that this gets totally remastered, right?
Sure.
You know, it looks great, it feels great. This is the question I was asking. Is this worth playing from the story and the environmental perspective? Because at the end of the day, Tomb Raider, the game and franchise, is all about exploring the tombs, being in this fantastical environment, and fighting these crazy creatures and unlocking this like supernatural thing that you have to find. By the end of it, I would say I think it's a miss. I really do. Because I get what they were going for. Laura's experienced 5 games. They wanted to make the character a bit darker. They put an air of mystery upon it. They wanted to create a more complete story through an evil group and this serial killer within Paris called the Monstrum, right? And could it be Lara? Is her darker side? Because she has a huge kind of threatening attitude to it all. Colin, you got to the Paris section, so you experienced Bernard or Pierre, right? The guy in the cafe or the park?
Yeah.
Okay.
The cafe.
Well, yeah, I went to the cafe as well. I do know the Bernard section as well. That's the one area where the game splits, so you can only talk to one or the other, and they'll give you a task to go to the club to get the little box that each of them want. It's just different dialogue. That's all you get. Basically, you both end up in the garage. You just take a different path in the garage to get into the club. That's all that is. But Lara basically threatens these dudes. It's like, hey, if I get this box and you give me the information to go find this underground mafia type guy, I would hate to have to come back and do a little cleaning up, so to say. And I'm like, Jesus. She's about to murder these guys. The Paris section has a lot of loads. You go up the stairs, it loads, but it's not as bad as people make that out to be. There's signs everywhere that says, cafe this way. You just go right there. It's right there. No problem. Once you pass the Paris stage, you get into the museum, the Louvre. You go under the museum, and then that's when you finally get into the tomb section, and that's where the game, it takes a long time to finally get to the tomb sections. And from there on, it's all tombs. You're raiding tombs for the rest of the game. Where the game gets atrocious is there's a second character, guys, that you have to play as, named Curtis. He's this too cool for school, baggy pants wearing guy.
Oh, boy.
Okay? If you guys think Lara controls like shit, you've not experienced Curtis.
Oh, no.
This guy is clunkier, less responsive, and you have to have... There's 3 boss battles in the game. 3. One of which is with Curtis, and it could have been the best one. The only one that's really any good, but because you're Curtis, it sucks ass. So, Curtis moves like he's in molasses all the time. And even when he kneels down, what he does is he kneels down on his right knee, and then when you want to walk forward, his legs have to switch to his left leg forward. So there's a whole extra motion, and then he goes. and if you take a wrong turn in the vent, it takes forever. So imagine playing 3 whole levels like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, is just the worst. Luckily, he dies at the end in a very stupid hard death, and I laughed. I was like,
How dare you spoil a game we were all looking forward to? How dare you?
yeah, well, there's when you get halfway through the second Curtis stage, you're in this kind of hospital, underground hospital that they're doing experiments and shit. You have to go through a door. Now, Joey, this is where I was texting you. This was all during the Curtis section, and I go through this cafeteria door, and it's the only way you can go to progress through the game. The game proceeds to crash every time. And it's a known bug without any fix. If your game you're playing just happens to experience that bug, you won't be able to progress. So I had to go online, find a save file that goes just past that door to continue playing.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Awful. I was like, wow, there's actually game-breaking bugs in this game. Crazy. So a lot of Tomb Raider games have a section where you have like a chamber of trials. You know, the first one has it. This one has it. Wind, water, earth, fire. That's what Angel of Darkness here has. And I've seen Let's Plays of people struggling really hard on at least one of the 4 trials. Mine was the Breath of Hades, I think, or the Fire of Hades, or something on the line. Basically, there's lava everywhere. There's platforms that you have to precision jump. There's platforms that will explode and shoot you into the ceiling. There's platforms that disappear. It was a hard experience. That was halfway through the game. Comically, there are a lot of scene changes where Lara will inexplicably change clothes. Like, she'll open a door, costume change. There'll be a cutscene, and she has totally different clothes on, plus sunglasses. The cutscene will end, and now she's in totally different clothes from when she started the cutscene.
It's like, what's her name? Queen Amidala from episode 1. I remember every scene, new clothes. I was like, how'd you do that?
There and I was then counting at one point, like through a whole chapter, like how many times Laura changes clothes. She was up to 9 at one point, and at the end of it, you have to go through this underwater aquarium type stage, and there's a scene change, and now she's in like a wetsuit, right?
We're back, us.
Like, okay, that's 10, right? And then when you're done with the aquatic stage and you finally go out, there's a cutscene of her sexually taking off the wetsuit. Like, it pans up her legs. It shows her taking the wetsuit off her shoulders, and then she throws it on the ground. You're like, she's naked right now. And then it goes back to her, like, commando gear. And I'm like, where did you get that? So my noticing the costume changes were at least rewarded with sexual Lara. There is a scene with Curtis where he sneaks up behind her and he caresses her very awkwardly, and there's a big sexual tension scene. And I'm like, this is hilarious on the PS2. Yeah, he's like rubbing up against her waist, and it goes down to her thigh, and then takes the gun out, and then he puts his hand over her chest, reaches down to the other side of the hip, takes that gun away. No dual guns in this game, by the way. So, there's a lot missing. The platforming is atrocious, and this is how I got motivated. I want to play all the other Tomb Raiders now, because I've never played 3, 4, and 5. I want to do that now. It's pretty sad when a Sega Saturn 3D game controls better than a PS2 game of the same franchise. It's so sad when you realize that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So, boss fight 1 is the cheapest, most bullshit boss fight I've ever experienced in gaming ever. Okay? You have to look up this boss fight. It's like the red crystal ghost. Okay? The crystal ghost will fly at you. It's unavoidable because Lara in Angel of Darkness doesn't have really a dodge mechanic at all.
Hey, guys, I hate to. I gotta go. Something came up real, like, emergency-wise. I'm sorry.
Okay, just give me your tier listings off cast.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
See you, man.
So Red Crystal Ghost will fly at you. It's unavoidable, and he does basically a whole life bar damage. So it's like a one-hit kill system. Okay? All during this, you have to get what they call the Obscura painting. That's the whole, like, concept of the game. Not that it matters. But you have to, there's like 6 statues in this room, and until you stun the ghost, if you approach the little painting that's the statue's holding, if you don't stun the ghost, every time you approach it, it warps to another statue. The problem is, you don't know the ghost is stunned. There's no indication that the ghost is ever stunned, because the combat in this game is ass. Luckily, you don't have to do a whole lot of it. So yes, there's a Tomb Raider game without combat. No shooting, really anything throughout the game. Just the occasional like guard that pops up. That's it. So I save scum the piss out of this so I could line up where the painting was, line up where the ghost is, pull the gun out, spam the fire button, and hope that it stops, and so then I could grab the painting and bolt out of there. It took like 40 minutes for me to finally get that right. Just that little sequence of events. That's how bullshit it is. Luckily, I did accidentally find out that if you just duck, the ghost will just fly over you. And that was actually very funny because the final boss fight in the game is you duck and you sit there as the boss just runs around the room over and over again until it centers with its doppelgangers, and then you just kick it. You can do it 3 times. That's the whole final boss fight. You duck, it's firing all its like projectiles and all this shit, but it just goes right over your head. It's very funny. I'm just watching him, and he's like, "I'll get you, Lara," and he fires, and you're just in the kneeled position. You're going, yep. "You'll never escape my wrath." Fires over your head. You're sitting there, yep. "Here's my ultimate attack." Fires. It's really funny. So yeah, Red Crystal boss, bullshit. The whole Curtis section is like the clunkiest bullshit I've ever experienced. I did beat this game in its completion. It has an actual satisfying ending to it all. Laura's got a sassy attitude. She kills the evil angel demon thing that was actually undercover this whole time. The plot actually does make sense, believe it or not. And she ends up getting Curtis's like sweet little boomerang shuriken thing. She holds it epically, like this is going to be her new awesome weapon for the next game. That never came, obviously. And she walks down this big dark corridor, and you're like, cool. That's a pretty cool ending to this shitty controlled game. So yeah, it's an F tier game that I weirdly like. But yeah, I know I rambled on and on of what Angel of Darkness is exactly. I was very much sympathetic and fascinated with this title and what it means to such a well-known franchise. I hope everyone listening found that as fascinating of what this game is. It is very linear. There's no doubt about that. Like, I never felt stuck at all. I just died platforming the whole time from the controls. That was it. So, yeah. What did you guys score Angel of Darkness? I gave it a fucking F, even though I like it and beat it.
F minus.
It's a fail. Definite fail. I could see potential in it, but it doesn't live up to it at all, so definite F.
Yeah, I mean, I see everything that they were going for. everything. Like, it's all there, right? But this is an example of when you have ass controls, just the assiest of ass. You know, I don't know how much more ass these controls could be. It makes a game unplayable for, like, look at you guys. Like, just because I beat the game and I persevered through the assness. Like, Joey, you lasted, what, 20 minutes barely making it out of the tutorial?
I didn't even make it out of the tutorial.
And Colin, did you even make it out of the nightclub?
Yeah, and I made it to Bouchard's hideout, but after that I couldn't figure the way out of the hideout, so I was just like, fuck this, I'm out.
Oh, you go into for some reason, Bouchard's door is locked and he won't let you out. And it turns out you have to go into the cage in the back left, or the cell in the back left, move a block, and it's just up above. That's it.
Oh,
pull the switch and the door opens. It's never the thing that I do appreciate about Angel of Darkness is all of these puzzles are never like not there, right? Because there's always a block. There's always to me at least, there was always an obvious block that you pull, and then you just kind of look up, and there's a switch or something. The first, like, all the Tomb Raiders are kind of like that. So at least they kept the simplicity there. The stamina meter was incredibly, like, why? There's no point to it at all. There's just one specific section in a big crypt area where you have to traverse along this, like, upside down rock wall, and you can't progress until you get this one upgrade, right? So you can progress the rest of that stamina wall, right? I guess there's a couple more instances of it, but that was the most telling. Was that particular one? So
my butt's
yep.
numb.
Your butt's numb. Yeah. We've been here a little while. Me talking about Angel of Darkness. You both give them Fs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both give it Fs.
Easy fail.
Yeah, it's easily the worst game we played on the list. Out of the 5, like, I played Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness the most, but as for what I think the best game is, I hate to say it, is Star Fox Adventures, and the worst game is easily Angel of Darkness. What about you guys?
I honestly agree with you, but I don't hate to say it. I think Star Fox is an okay game, and that's just sucks that that's the best game we played.
Yeah.
Same opinion. Star Fox best, Tomb Raider worst.
Yeah. I'm really of the mind that if core design, like, kept with the Tomb Raider franchise, that the game that would have come after Angel of Darkness would have been way better than, say, Legend or Underworld. So, Doom 3 I give a C. Star Fox Adventures I give a C. Mario Brothers 2 I give a C. Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle I give a D. And Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness is I think the first game I've just totally failed with flying colors that I found enjoyment in, just of my own sympathetic assness.
Yeah, Doom 3 gets a C, although as a Doom game, it's a definite D.
Oh, so do you want to give it a D then? Because that's fine.
As a standalone game, it's a C. It's
okay.
Just compared to the other Dooms, it doesn't live up. And Star Fox gets a C on the higher end.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Bros gets a C. Alex Kidd gets a D. And Tomb Raider an F. So it's basically the same opinion as you.
That is the exact same, yeah. Joey?
It's gonna give Doom a low end C. Star Fox is a high end C. Mario Brothers 2 low end C, and the other two are Fs.
Ooh, Alex Kidd could be F tier. Well, the thing is, it's not unplayable. That's
I thought
the
it
thing.
was. I didn't find any enjoyment to play it, so.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Funny thing is, I'm hearing you say for Tomb Raider that there's no backstep, but my version did have a backstep. Maybe GOG's version just has like all the mods and such.
Mine
That's very possible.
was a backstep at the back flip with the right mouse click, and I clicked on it a few times by accident and fell to my death, so I hated it.
Well, the thing is, the cool thing about the Steam version, and I have the Steam controller, so there's like 4 extra buttons on that sucker. I was able to map out each individual jump mechanic to the Steam controller, so I would find myself save scumming to figure out which one of like the 4 jumps that I need to do at that moment, because you don't know, you can't. There's a lot of times where you just don't know which jump that you need to do based on the perspective of the platforms ahead of you. Like, is this a running jump? Is this a backflip jump? Is this etc. etc. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so Kevin actually has the next theme pick, and he had to leave for an emergency, which is fine. I'm sure he gives Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness a hard F as well. There's no doubt in my mind on that one. So I guess I'll get with him later. He'll give us the theme pick, and that is it for episode 65 of the Red Leaf Retrocast. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.